You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. And here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown. He's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network and welcome to the Rockingham Speedway. We are with the Street Stock Showdown here tonight with the Leave the Pack iRacing League. The first time we have visited a track over 3/4 of a mile in the Street Stock Showdown, and it comes right here in the hills of North Carolina at the Rockingham Speedway. Qualifying taking place, and Brandon Elvis in the 54 trying to back up his run from last week. After post-race review, he walked away the winner at the Hickory Motor Speedway. Rockingham a mile in length. You can see him really driving that car into the top, trying to get as big of a run as he can for lap number 2. I think lap 2 is going to be the money lap. We get times up on screen. Cole Baxter currently quick time. Peyton Hamlet a little faster, 27.033. In my testing earlier, the best lap I could come up with was a 26.6 or 26.967. Just barely into the 26-second bracket. See what Elvis can do on his second lap. Comes down to the line. And a 26.988. Brandon Elvis figures something out. This driver picked up the win in the first couple races of the season. Connor Knowlton in the 24. We'll see what Connor can do. And comes across the stripe. Second quick to Adam Fulford. Fulford, fastest in the 71, comes across the stripe second time around. And he will keep that first lap time. Good lap there from the 71. Brian Grable in the 22. Second lap time, or first lap time rather, 27.041. Matt Borndren in the 00. 27.133 on his first time around. Borndren currently sitting 22nd in the point standings. He's got 4 starts with us. Still looking for that first top 10 finish. He's had a rough go at it in Season 4 of the Street Stock Showdown, but Borndren looking for a good qualifying run here as he comes across the stripe to complete lap number 2. And he will move up a couple positions into P8. Now the most successful driver in qualifying in the Leave the Pack Street Stock Showdown. This is Dylan Connor in the 91, the driver out of South Boston, Virginia. He comes around to the white flag. We'll see what lap number 1 brings for the 91. And first lap time, P18. Gonna try to give it all he has in lap number 2. Out of turn number 4, you see the 91 cut down to the line, and he drives right down. And fourth quick for the 91. So that will wrap up qualifying. Dylan Connor goes fastest, or sorry, Adam Fulford goes fastest. Dylan Connor was the final car to go in qualifying. But Fulford Top of the board in the 71. And I believe that is going to be Fulford's first ever Fast Qualifier award in the Street Stock Showdown. He may have went quick time in a couple of the other divisions. First time going top of the board in the Street Stock Showdown. Fulford still looking for that first Street Stock victory in his Street Stock Showdown career. He has 18 starts, 3 top 5 finishes, 7 top 10s. Good qualifying effort here tonight, but the invert, a 10 here at the Rockingham Speedway. We'll be going back to road number 5, which holds Brian Gravel and Matt Vorndren. They're going to be bringing us to the green. Looking at the schedule for the Street Stocks heading forward. After Rockingham, we head to some of the smaller tracks on the schedule. South Boston, Slinger for 200 laps. That's going to be a very exciting race. One set of tires, they're going to have to go the whole distance without a set in the pits. That's going to be something to watch. We may change that. We'll see how the drivers take that announcement when it is presented to them. After that, IRP for 50 laps. Oswego on the mini track. That's going to be one that a couple drivers may be a little nervous for. I'm excited for it. It's a big difference from the big track at Oswego and a bit of a change from what some of these drivers might be used to. So I think it's going to be an exciting race for the drivers once they get to Oswego, but that's a couple of weeks from now. We'll look at our final qualifying results here. Adam Fulford, quick time with a 26.932. Second quick was Connor Knowlton. And a very close top 10. Only a 10th off was Brian Grable in the 10th position. So these drivers going to have their work cut out for them if they want to find victory lane. And one of the big things that really haven't mentioned, 50 laps here at Rockingham is going to be a long time, especially with how on edge these cars are. We'll go on board with our fast qualifier. They're going to have a lot more speed once they get in the race, because I think there's going to be a little bit of a draft, but you can hear the tires going down into the corner. Fulford not entirely sideways like some of the other cars I was watching in practice, but you can definitely kick out that right rear tire. It's going to be a big time tire conservation game. Going to be a matter of who can have track position but also keep the tires underneath of it. Let's grab a quick word from one of the drivers that's going to be rolling off from the front row here tonight, Matt Vorndren, up into the broadcast booth. Matt, you're going to be bringing us to the green outside row number 1. 50 laps at Rockingham, a bit of a longer race. What can you do with this good starting position to capitalize at the Rock?
Oh boy. Well, what an invert. Scored pretty good on that. I guess it's just all managing the tire in the back and not diving it in too deep, but just maintaining that position, because I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult to pass, and we'll stay too wide for a long time. Should be an incredible race, so track position is going to matter quite a bit.
Yeah, track position definitely going to matter. Trying to keep that track position. How do you think this car is going to race? We've never taken the Street Stock Showdown to a track this big. What do you think that is going to look like? What are you expecting starting up at the front?
It can go a couple ways, but I would say it's so similar to Bristol, so it should stay competitive the whole time. But I think the start of this race could be pretty wild.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. The start of this race definitely going to be wild, but we'll let you get back to it. You've got 50 laps ahead of you. Hopefully we can talk to you later on, but good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right, that was your 9th place qualifier, Matt Borndren. We'll look at our starting grid. After the invert, Brian Grable going to be bringing us to the green in the 22. He'll have the 00 of Matt Borndren to his outside. Rolling off from the 3rd spot in the number 98, that's going to be Peyton Hamlet, the driver out of Nashville, Tennessee. And to his outside, driver out of Statesville, North Carolina, that is Brandon Atkinson, your current points leader. In the 5th spot in the number 1 here this evening, that is Jacob Hayes. And to his outside, almost picked up, well, I guess unofficially picked up the victory last week, that is Braxton Deweese. We'll see if he can have a better run here tonight. Row number 4, 2 of the most successful drivers in the Street Stock Showdown. Dylan Connor, your defending champion, alongside 2-time champion Brandon Elvis in the 54. Starting 9th is going to be Connor Knowlton in the 24, with Adam Fulford, your fast qualifier, in the 71, starting 10th to his outside. Row number 6 on the bottom side is Chris Shepard in the number 19, and to his outside, winner at the Nashville Mini Track, that's Cole Baxter in the number 19. Back behind them, row number 7 on the bottom is Trey Ashworth in the number 8. Chris Fleming in the 18 to his outside. Kristen Pena in the 50 starts 15th. Chris Smith 16th. And rounding out our starting lineup, Zach Murphy and Stephen Choate. Going to bring this field to the green on the pole. It is Brian Grable and Matt Borndren getting ready to come to the green, and the green flag is out, and we're racing here at Rockingham. The field heads off down into turns 1 and 2 for the first time, and they make their way through the banks. Everybody side by side, nobody really dipping out of line just yet. They work down the back straightaway. Long backstretch here at Rockingham. Through turns 3 and 4 for the first time. Leader of lap number 1. Give it to Brian Grable in the 22. They come back around. It's a battle for the 2nd spot. Peyton Hamlet in the 98 to the inside of Matt Borndren. Borndren stuck up on that outside lane. Brandon Atkinson thought about 3 wide there. Jacob Hayes moves down to the bottom as Matt Borndren tags that outside wall. As Borndren back to the 5th spot here early as Brandon Atkinson moves down to the inside. Dylan Connor going to be the next driver to move to the bottom. Your top 4 single file, but Dylan Connor looking underneath Matt Borndren for the 5th position. Back behind Braxton Deweese and Brandon Elvis side by side. Looks like Elvis able to move forward on the bottom early on. You can see the draft right there. How well some of these drivers are able to close up down the straightaway. As Dylan Connor breaks out to the 5th spot, that'll allow Brandon Elvis to get underneath Matt Borndren. Borndren falling back in a hurry. Not able to get a good run early on, but as we've mentioned, 50 laps, a long time here. They're definitely going to have to save their tires as they go down through turns 3 and 4. Deweese pulls alongside the 00. Good clean race so far. Everybody able to get away smoothly. Everybody still sorting things out back behind. Cole Baxter on the inside. Chris Fleming on the outside. Battle just outside of the top 10. Couple drivers towards the back of the pack here. Hungry to go forward early, but I think maybe being in the back actually might be an advantage here tonight because of how significant the tire wear is going to be. As up front, we've got a battle for the race lead. Peyton Hamlet slides underneath Brian Grable. Cuts off the run from Jacob Hayes, but Hayes going to shoot to the inside of the 22. And this is where we're going to see for the first time how these drivers are going to be able to race side by side. Hayes in the 1 had a big run to the inside, but now Grable able to hold him down and use that outside lane. And as both of these drivers get side by side, here comes Brandon Atkinson in the 15. This all happens behind your race leader, Peyton Hamlet. Hamlet leads by about half a second. Hayes loose on the bottom. Grable Going to use that outside lane. And now Brandon Atkinson going to pull ahead and move to the 3rd spot. Jacob Hayes in the 1 was all sorts of sideways through 3 and 4 that time. Had to back out of it. They look a little bit further back. Cole Baxter and Braxton DeWeese make side-by-side contact. And oh, Chris Fleming in the 18 slides down onto the apron. Somehow saves it, and we continue on green. Everybody keeps it in the right direction somehow, but Fleming in the 18 definitely lost a ton of ground there. We look back up front, your top 4, nose to tail, 4-car breakaway just ahead of Dylan Connor. Here comes Brandon Atkinson rather, in the 15 to the inside of Brian Grable. Takes a peek underneath through 1 and 2. Grable loose in the 22 machine. That allows Brandon Atkinson to pull alongside down the back. Grable, I think, got a better run out of 2. Here comes Jacob Hayes back up into the 3rd spot. Uses that outside lane. He's got a big run up out of 4. Jacob Hayes right up to the back bumper of Brian Grable. Great racing up at the front here. Not really able to tell which driver is going to take the advantage as they go down into turns 3 and 4 this time. Jacob Hayes thought about looking down to the inside of Brian Grable. Hayes all over the back bumper will go on board with the number 1 machine. Everybody just tucking in line at this current moment. Nobody really wanting to race too hard just yet. A long way to go. Still over 35 laps left. If you're watching the lap times, they're running about 27-second laps. So still quite the distance left to travel. Some of these drivers back behind starting to work together to try to gain some ground on the front of the pack, but I'm actually kind of surprised with how spread out this field is getting. We're 13 laps in. Now Elvis looks to the inside of Dylan Connor for the final spot in the top 10, or top 5. Elvis to the bottom, Connor to the outside. Your fast qualifier, Adam Fulford, right there on the back bumper of Brandon Elvis. Down into 3, Elvis tries to slide the 54 up, and I think he's going to be able to clear Dylan Connor, but here comes Adam Fulford in the 71. Fulford in the 71 to the inside of Dylan Connor. Fulford's done a good job working his way forward so far. He's the biggest mover as he moves to the inside of Dylan Connor, up 4 positions, knocking on the door of the top 5. Still side by side for that spot. You can see the run that Dylan Connor is able to get up off the corner, and that just propels him down the long straightaway. But Fulford using that inside lane, just slow rolling the bottom, able to pull up in front of Dylan Connor. Move Adam Fulford up to the 6th position as we've got action back behind him. Braxton DeWeese to the outside. That's Cole Baxter on the bottom. Chris Smith and the 80 machine on the top as well, running in the 12th spot. It's now up front. Brian Grable to the inside of Peyton Hamlet. Battle for the lead once again. Hamlet and Grable side by side at the line. Grable down to the inside. Peyton Hamlet trying to use that outside lane and just carry as much momentum as possible. They do have slow car up in front of them. That's Stephen Choate in the 72. Through turns 3 and 4, Brian Grable going to pull ahead, but not able to clear Peyton Hamlet just yet. Hamlet to the outside. Jacob Hayes thinking about making it 3 wide to the bottom. Grable moves up the racetrack just a little bit. That's going to allow Peyton Hamlet to carry a better run down the back straightaway. Big run from both cars behind this time. A bump from Jacob Hayes in the number 1. Down into 3, a big lunge from the 22 of Brian Grable. He moves up the racetrack, slides just a little bit, but able to take the race lead. New leader at the line, now lap number 20 up on the board. Brian Grable back to the front. They head down the back straightaway. Brandon Elvis in the 54. He's starting to work his way forward. We'll look at the lap times that last time around. Elvis, faster than your top 4. Definitely putting in some work to try to track those drivers down as we have 30 laps to go, about 5 laps shy of the halfway point. Things are still exciting up at the front as they now have Stephen Choate up in front of them. Choate in the 72, I'm sure, does not want to go a lap down, but I don't know if he's going to have much of a choice here as there's a 4-car pack right behind him. They are coming with a big head of steam. Which way does Stephen Choate go here? Brian Grable looks to the inside. Choate right into the middle of the racetrack. And now Peyton Hamlet to the outside of Brian Grable. Grable was not able to catch Stephen Choate at the best point. And now Choate up the racetrack. They split him down on the bottom. Brian Grable on the inside, Peyton Hamlet on the outside. Here's Brandon Atkinson in the 15, your points leader, up into the top 3. Gives Grable a nose down into the corner. Grable loose that time out of turn number 2. That allows Hamlet to pull ahead. Brandon Atkinson going to look to the outside now. 4 cars under a blanket racing for the race lead. Jacob Hayes looks underneath Atkinson. Atkinson shoots up the racetrack. Your top 4 side by side, 2 rows of 2. Hamlet and Grable battle for the top spot. Atkinson and Hayes battle for the 3rd position. Grable able to pull ahead that time, and as all of this is happening, everybody back behind slowly starting to work back towards the front. Grable back to the top spot, but Peyton Hamlet right there on the back bumper, nearly contact that time, down into turn number 1. They head down into turn number 3 and look back behind. You can see Elvis and Adam Fulford both slowly working their way forward. I think this extra tow from Stephen Choate is also helping as well. We go on board with Adam Fulford. Definitely a little bit different tone from the engine than what we were hearing in qualifying. We're halfway here at Rockingham, 25 laps in. 25 laps remain. These drivers starting to figure out some different lines on this racetrack. You saw Brian Grable all the way up on the outside that last time on the exit of 4. Just trying to figure out where that car wants to be. Peyton Hamlet in the 98 was a little bit loose through turns 1 and 2, but he's got a big run down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. 98 tries to cut underneath Brian Grable. He's got a big run down the front stretch. And you take a look to the inside. He's right there on the back bumper of Atkinson. He also would like to get up into the mix of things. He's been looking underneath, but so far has not been able to get a good run down to the inside. The field works down through turns 1 and 2. Everybody in the back half of the top 10, too, slowly starting to move forward. Brandon Atkinson this time going to take a peek underneath Peyton Hamlet in the 98. Hamlet has to use that outside lane. What can Brandon Atkinson do on the bottom? Tries to get a big run, but down the straightaway, just not able to carry any momentum. Jacob Hayes in the one, trying to use up that outside lane, but I think drivers may be starting to run out of options as far as racing lines go. A lot of heat in the tires, and everybody up at the front here has definitely been working a little bit harder than I think some of these cars back behind. This time by 20 laps to go. 20 to go for Brian Grable, trying to hold off Peyton Hamlet, Brandon Atkinson, and Jacob Hayes, who have been right there this entire race. A little bit of a gap now opening up for Brian Grable as Brandon Atkinson pulls right to the back bumper of Peyton Hamlet. Sizing up the 98, just trying to figure out how he can drive to the inside and also get a drive up off the corner. Is that time a little bit better of a run from Atkinson. Able to show his nose to the inside through turns 1 and 2. 98 of Hamlet goes up the racetrack. What can Brandon Atkinson do from the bottom? Hamlet into the wall. And now Brandon Atkinson pulls alongside for the second spot. Atkinson side by side with Hamlet for second. Adam Fulford and Brandon Elvis are side by side for the fifth spot back behind them. All of this happening inside of 20 laps to go. The laps are winding out. And I think some of these drivers are starting to understand that as Jacob Hayes pushes the 15 of Brandon Atkinson, trying to get him as good of a run as he can down into the corner. And now Hayes to the inside. They're 3 wide down the front straightaway. Jacob Hayes in the one. I don't think he's got a big enough of a run. Dives down into the corner. Atkinson had to move up the racetrack a little bit. It did not work out for the one of Jacob Hayes. Atkinson now going to have to try again with Peyton Hamlet. This time by 16 laps to go for the 22 of Brian Grable. Back behind, final spot in the top 10, Braxton Deweese trying to get around Matt Borndren. This is all about 2.5 seconds behind your leaders. You can see that outside lane definitely starting to become a bigger factor in this one. Drivers are able to hold the run. Just don't know if there's enough grip left in the right rear tire to use up that inside line. Adam Fulford, your pole sitter in the 71. As now once again Atkinson in the 15 looks to the inside of Peyton Hamlet. This time off of 4, pulls ahead. Can he have enough of a run down into turns 1 and 2 to get clear of the 98? What happens through turns 1 and 2? The 15 down to the bottom, gets a push from the one of Jacob Hayes, and now right there on the back bumper is Brandon Elvis. Elvis in the 54 wants a piece of the action, wants to get up onto the podium. I think he and Adam Fulford may have been saving for this moment. They knew that they were going to be able to get up to the back bumper, and now a 6-car pack down into turns 1 and 2. Choate gives way to Elvis and Fulford. Now Elvis in the 54 looks underneath Jacob Hayes. A little contact there. Elvis in the 54 has to save it. All of this is allowing Brian Grable to pull ahead. The gap now out front, a second. Hamlet just motoring down the back straightaway. No one able to get by just yet. Brandon Atkinson in the 15. Right there. Now finally pulls ahead. Can Brandon Atkinson track down Brian Grable out front? Peyton Hamlet back to the 3rd spot, but Jacob Hayes trying to pull forward as well. Here's Adam Fulford, your fast qualifier. Fulford gives a big shot to the back bumper of Jacob Hayes down into turn number 3. Fulford, I think, had to back out of it, had too much momentum. Down into the corner, this time by for Brian Grable. 10 laps to go. 10 to go for the 22, trying to pick up win number 1 in the Street Stock Showdown. Brian Grable, in his Street Stock Showdown career, has made 14 starts, and oh, Jacob Hayes in the number 1 goes around down the back straightaway, and the caution flag is going to fly inside of 10 laps to go. And the 1 of Jacob Hayes goes for a spin down the back. Let's see how it happened. I think just tried to block right there, going down into the corner, and chopped off and came to a stop right there on the inside of turns 3 and 4. And that brought out the caution flag. Everyone else able to avoid. Let's watch another angle of what happened there. See if we can't get a better idea. Yeah, it looked like the 1 just tried to block the run from the 98 of Hamlet and slid down to the bottom. Here it is from the drone. Yeah, you can see the 98 look to the bottom, and as soon as that happened, the 1 of Jacob Hayes tried to block off that run. But now that will reset things up at the front. Brian Grable had broke out. Grable had broke out to about a 1-second advantage. And we'll see what he can do now. We'll be inside of 10 laps to go. The caution lights disappear on the iRacing.com pace car. And now it will be restart time. Who will take the victory? 3 out of the 4 drivers on the front 2 rows looking for their first Street Stock Showdown victory. Will it come tonight? Peyton Hamlet has never won in the Street Stock Showdown. Adam Fulford has never won in the Street Stock Showdown. Brian Grable has never won in the Street Stock Showdown after finishing second I don't know how many times. We will find out what happens here. We send them back with 6 laps remaining. It is in the hands of Brian Grable. Brandon Atkinson going to have to launch second to his outside. And now, through the restart zone they go. Good launch from the 22. We're back underway. 6 laps remain at the Rock. Down into turn number 1. Grable able to pull ahead in the 22. Now Brandon Atkinson able to clear for second in the 15. What happens down the back straightaway? Atkinson right up to the back bumper of the 22 of Grable. This time by the high 5 out of the flag stand. 5 laps remain at the Rock. 5 more miles in the Street Stock Showdown debut at Rockingham Speedway. Brian Grable trying to get his first Street Stock Showdown win, leads out front. Now back behind him, things start to heat up a little bit. Brandon Elvis with a big run to the inside, looks underneath Peyton Hamlet for the 4th position. Elvis to the bottom, Hamlet on the outside. How about Braxton Deweese? He's drove back up just about to the top 5. He looks 3 wide on the bottom. Dylan Connor, the meat and the sandwich in the middle. Right behind Brandon Elvis, a little contact there. Elvis slides in the 54. They're all sideways in 1 and 2. And now Chris Smith in. The 80 machine goes around down the back straightaway, and we've got cars tangled up. Tristan Pena sideways down the backstretch, and I don't know if the caution is going to fly, and there it does end up coming out. Baxter in the 19 involved. Chris Smith in the 80 gets tagged. Let's watch that again. We will have a green-white checkered. Watch this again. It looked like the 80 machine got loose and drove down into Cole Baxter. Watch this on board with Chris Smith here. Let's get it a lap before, too, just so we can see exactly how this happened. Watch the 54 of Elvis and the 91 of Dylan Connor. I think that's where this initially ended up starting. This is the corner before when Elvis got to the inside. They were 3 wide down the front straightaway. Now watch into 1. The 91 hits Elvis, and they all slide up the racetrack a little bit. Chris Smith way up the racetrack, and then I think just gets sideways and then comes back down trying to save it. That ends up taking out a couple cars back behind him. I think Smith going to be done for the night as well. You see the damage on the left front. So a tough break for a driver who was inside of the top 5. Now it will be time to see if Brian Grable can hang on here at Rockingham. Lights disappear on the pace car. We'll send them back green with 2 to go. It'll be once again Grable and Atkinson. Fulford on the inside lane. He's hungry for a victory. And he was your fast qualifier here tonight. He's currently the hard charger. Don't count him out. We prepared to go back racing. Just 2 miles left. Grable's going to have to get a killer launch in the 22. Adam Fulford in the 71 going to try to push Grable the best he can. Brandon Elvis in the 54 going to try to push Brandon Atkinson the best he can. And they fire through the restart zone, and we're back underway with 2 laps to go. Grable able to get out front. He blocks Brandon Atkinson out to the outside lane, and now through the first set of corners, Brian Grable able to break out. He's got 2 car lengths down the back straightaway. Brandon Atkinson pulls ahead of Adam Fulford in the 71. That's for the 2nd spot. Brandon Elvis in the 54 on the outside looks for 3rd. This time by, white flag is out. Final time around here at Rockingham. Brian Grable trying to hold on for his first victory in the Street Stock Showdown. Brandon Atkinson a car length behind him in the 2nd spot. Atkinson going to have one final shot at it through turns 3 and 4. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, both drivers go, and through 4. Brian Grable going to have to fend off one more run. Big run from Brandon Atkinson, but at the line, it's going to be Brian Grable going to victory lane in the Street Stock Showdown. Brian Grable picks up the victory for the first time in his Street Stock Showdown career. Brandon Elvis not happy with, I think that was Adam Fulford in the 71. We'll have to see what happened there. But Brian Grable finally puts the 1 in the win column and gets rid of the goose egg we'll see if we couldn't grab a word from our winner as he burns it down. We'll give him a moment to celebrate this victory. It has been a long time coming for the 22 of Brian Gravel, but he is finally going to burn it down in the streeter. We'll also get a word from the rest of our top 3 finishers. We'll let Gravel get that car parked on the front straightaway. And get up into the broadcast booth here. And finally, we can get him up into the booth for the first time in his career. Winner in the Street Stock Showdown, Brian Gravel. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, finally, the goose egg out of the wins column in the Street Stock Showdown. It has been a long time coming, but finally you are a Street Stock Showdown winner. How does it feel?
It's pretty awesome. Every car you've ever ran in your league, I've won in. And the Street Stock League's been around for 3 years now. We started in 23, didn't we?
24, 2 years, but, you know.
24. Okay, well, I was close enough. And I've just never been able to win a Street Stock race. I've ran plenty of them. I've ran second in plenty of them, and I was finally able to get one. I don't know why I could never win one here, but I finally got it done.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the track that you ever thought you'd pick up the victory at, but did that testing that we did earlier, did you figure anything out in that little span of time, and did that help your success here tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I was really struggling with finding speed, and then we kind of worked together on what we needed to do, and then my plan for the race is, I figured the top would really come in, so I was going to run the top, but then I kept running the same line, but being a lot easier into the corners, and it just stayed really, really consistent. The car stayed stable, like it wasn't super loose or anything. It was a little loose over the bumps, but other than that, it honestly just running the line that I ran during qualifying, I just kept doing it. And then I was able to play the invert perfect tonight. So that really helped me. I had a good starting position, obviously. Always starting from the pole is good, so I was able to just get out front, and then once BA and all them started racing behind me, and I grew to that 1.5 second lead or whatever it was, I was like, we may be in business if we stay green. And then after that second restart, or the first restart, and I was able to get a gap, I knew I was good. I didn't like seeing that other caution come out, but I knew with the gap I created on the first start, if I could replicate that, I was going to win it. So I was able to do it and get it done tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned the restart there at the end. You thought you were going to be good if it went green. I thought you were plenty good if it went green to the end, and then that caution at the end, you texted me, I'm not going to win my first Street Stock race tonight. Run me back through the emotions that went through your head when you saw that yellow.
Well, I knew if these guys would use their heads a little more and get in a single file line and work their way up to me, I was going to be screwed, because they was going to peak down, because the straightaways are super long here. So they was just going to peak down, and I was going to get stuck out on the top. So I knew the moment that caution came out, I was like, man, this isn't going to be good. I was expecting maybe somebody to be on my bumper getting into one and move me up the racetrack, but me and BA kind of worked together there, and we got a game plan together, and it worked out. And then the caution came out, and we didn't work together after that one, but I wanted to win, so I didn't want to give him an advantage to beat me, so we just raced it out.
Yeah, when he was on the front row, all bets were off. All teamwork was out the window from that point. Well, finally, a winner in the Street Stock Showdown. Who do you have to thank, B Gravy, for the victory here tonight?
I want to thank you with the sim racing stuff. You also helped me with my Legends Core IRL. I really appreciate you for that. Champs Auto Care, RJ Williams, Levi Photography, really want to thank Brandon Elvis and all them. I've been working with him a little bit on some late model stuff, and all of them guys, a great group of guys, ECR guys. So really big shout out to them guys.
For sure. You guys had a pretty good battle there at the front. A lot of names from that group. So it was a fun race watching you guys battle it out, and I'm glad you could finally pick up a street stock showdown checkered flag.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. All right, folks, that was your winner for the first time in the street stock showdown, Brian Grable. Now let's talk to our second place finisher here tonight. Started in the 4th spot, Brandon Atkinson. You were able to work your way up to 2nd when it was all said and done. Man, it just looked tough to complete the pass, and you had Hayes and Hamlet in front of you for what seemed like an eternity, which I think just allowed B. Grable to get away a little bit earlier than I think you would have liked to see.
Yeah, it was a bit tough, and like you said, if you get side by side, you really are the guy in front of you's kind of heading on out, and y'all are dropping a parachute. That's what I was hoping. A few points there when it was just us four way ahead, I was really wanting to just keep riding in case it went green. I mean, there was a few times where the leaders went side by side and we'd lose 3 or 4 tenths a lap, and it's like, man, it don't take long for them taking chunks out of that for them to catch us, and I really don't want that to happen. But ended up a caution came out, and yeah, luckily I was able to kind of work my way past 2 cars and up into second. There was a restart there. I told Grable, whisper to me when you're going, and I'm going to try to get behind you, and hopefully the boys behind us will be racing and we can have a nice breakout again. But and we did that, but the caution came out and we had a green white checkered there, so it's every man for himself at that point. And we had a good finish. I thought Adam was going to get us there, but we had a good run up off the corner and able to finish the last lap out. So good win to Brian Grable. He was ripping all night, and glad he finally got a win.
Yeah, finally, that is the word there. He ran up front with you for a couple of your wins, and you were able to hold that checkered flag, but now he gets to hold the checkered flag. Still a good run from the 15 machine here tonight. Did what you needed to do to contain that points gap, and I think you're going to gain some points here tonight when it's all said and done. So congrats on another successful run here this evening. We've got 2 completely opposite racetracks from this here, from Rockingham here tonight in the next 2 weeks. Slinger for 200 laps in 2 weeks, and the next week we have South Boston. The Slinger race, 200 laps. What are going to be your biggest... Are you excited for that race? Are you nervous? Are you fearful? What is it? What's the emotion?
Like Slinger, but 200 laps sounds crazy, and usually you don't go changing tires on a street stock because it takes about 25 minutes. But so we'll have to see what the rules are for that event, and that'll kind of dictate on how we're gonna do it. If we don't get tires, we're gonna be chilling for a little bit, and then there towards the end, we're gonna run our way up towards the front. But I love the track, and hopefully they're fun in this car. And as far as IRP goes, I don't know. It'll be another one like this. I always suck at that track for some reason, so I'm gonna have to make the best of it.
All right. Well, hopefully you can make the best of it and continue on your points lead, and hopefully pick up the championship when it's all said and done. But before I let you go, who do you have to thank for P2 here tonight?
I just thank you, WD, for putting the league on and dealing with us hooligans. Thanks for everyone for running. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone at Trick Chassis. Thanks the guys at Coastal Performance and Elvis and all them guys. It's fun every week racing with them, and we should see you guys on Thursday for TMSS. Hopefully we can have a good run there.
All right. Well, congratulations to you, BA, on P2 here tonight. We wish you luck on Thursday, and hopefully you can have a better run next week in the sprint car.
Yeah, hopefully. We've been struggling a little bit, but hopefully we get a little bit more luck. We might practice a little bit. We'll be digging. We got to finish off the season strong. Our teammate
sure.
got the win, though, so we're fired up.
I was going to say, you need to get some notes from CP, get some of his preparation from the week and see what he's doing.
Yeah, drive up to Connecticut and steal some of his talent.
There you go.
But thanks, WD. Have a good night, buddy.
For sure. You as well. Congratulations.
Bye.
All right, folks. That was your second place finisher here tonight. Now let's talk to our third place finisher up into the broadcast booth. Third place finish, qualified pole here tonight. The 10 invert put you behind the 8 ball early there, Adam, but you were able to work your way back up through the field. Had one of the faster cars there at the end. I just think the field may have gotten a little bit too spread out for you during that long green flag run, and then wasn't enough laps at the green white checkered.
Yeah, I definitely needed a few more laps to kind of get it to get going there. I think it was like a 2-lap shootout. Just wanted enough. Everyone's so bottled up together. It's kind of hard to make some moves there. But overall, good race. But I didn't really have many cautions. I was actually surprised. I was expecting this to be a little bit more of a wreck fest with it being a drafting track, but everyone done pretty good tonight. I have to give them credit.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot better than I think some of us expected. We knew the speeds were going to be high and you were going to have to make moves late and things like that, but everybody did do a pretty good job keeping their heads screwed on straight. There was a couple moments that were pretty breathtaking from time to time, but all in all, a pretty exciting race. You were pretty exciting to watch there at the end, moving up to the third spot. Walk me through that final restart, how you were able to execute and get onto the podium.
Yeah, biggest plan was just trying to push Grayville as early as possible and get clear of Brandon Atkinson, but thought I had him. Then he got a huge run on the outside, and that kind of stalled me out just a touch there. I was having to block both Braxton and Elvis, and I thought Elvis was going to get me there, and he got loose through 1 and 2 and was able to go up top and block that run. And then him and Braxton kind of stalled out, and at that point, just had to be smooth and brought it back third. Yeah. Invert, I didn't realize. I knew it was a 10. Typically, I qualify like somewhere right there. So when I put it on pole, I was like, wow. Like, of course, the one time I plan on, qualifying mid pack, I put it on pole. So, but I mean, we'll take it. Pole's a pole no matter what. Some bonus points at least. And yeah, glad to be able to put on a good show tonight. Couldn't do without all my sponsors though: Sunset Pest Control, LNA Tire and Auto, CarQuest and Supply, Quality Marine Welding, Rankin Race Engines, ECR, Coleman Designs for the paint scheme. Must appreciate you doing the broadcast and putting the league on, and a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one at Sobo.
For sure. We've got a lot of exciting races left this season in the street stocks. If you had to circle one on your calendar, which race are you looking forward to the most?
Probably South Boston, honestly. I've always had pretty fortunate luck there. It's a really fun place to race at, and it's definitely a 2-groove racetrack for sure. Sometimes even 3. It's fun to late model stocks. I've raced some street stock officials there, so looking forward to that. I think that was a 75-lap race, if I'm not mistaken. The Slinger race, I should be excited for it. I don't know if we can get a good group of people in there, it'll be fine. But that's definitely a really tight track. So definitely the next 2 weeks looking forward to. But Sobo more than anything.
For sure. Sobo, like you said, multi-groove racetrack. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But congratulations to you on P3 here tonight. And awesome to watch you drive up through the field. And congrats on the pole.
Appreciate it, Wes.
Sir. All right, that was Adam Fulford, your third place finisher here tonight. Let's look at our final finishing results. We'll get them up on screen. Ryan Grable walks away victorious for the first time in the Street Stock Showdown. Second place is Brandon Atkinson. Third place, Adam Fulford. Braxton DeWeese rounds out. Braxton DeWeese and Jacob Hayes round out the top 5. Brandon Elvis in the 54 finishes 6th. Stephen Choate in the 72 finishes 7th. Dylan Connor in the 91 finishes in the 8th spot. Chris Fleming finishes 9th. Zach Murphy 10th. Peyton Hamlet 11th. Trey Ashworth 12th. Chris Shepard 13th. Kristen Pena 14th. Cole Baxter 15th. Chris Smith 17th. Or Chris Smith 16th. Connor Knowlton 17th. And Matt Bordrin rounds out the field. They had to leave a little bit early to make a different race, unfortunately. But still fun watching both of those two make their way through the field. As we mentioned, we've got South Boston next week and then Slinger the week after that, before 5 races cap off this Street Stock Showdown season. It's been a really fun season with the Street Stock Showdown. We put on some good races, especially here in these past couple weeks. Hickory last week, a banger of a race. Rockingham here tonight, another pretty good race. But that is going to wrap up our coverage here from the Rockingham Speedway. Thank you guys for watching the WD Broadcasting Network. If you guys haven't already, hit that red subscribe button. For more iRacing content, I'm your host, Winston Deal, signing it off. Until the next time, see you guys later. Have a good night. Peace out.